So hello, my name is Devin Gates and I'm here to give you my 6-month review of the Fujifilm XE5. So I've had this camera for 6 months and I'll be honest with you, the camera sat on the shelf for a long time untouched. And for one reason only, is because I do have the X106. Now, to give you a little bit of backstory about my Fujifilm cameras, I did start off with the X-T50, and with the X-T50, that was my first ever introduction to the Fuji system. I love the camera. The camera was great. I loved how small it was. It took me back to when I had my first APS-C lens camera. It was a Nikon 3500, I think, 3400, one of those cameras years ago. So I didn't know much about photography, and you know, you go to the store, you buy one of the cheapest things brand new you can buy, and that was one of them. It was about $400, $500 at the time. So then I moved into full frame Sony. My first full frame Sony camera was the A7C. Love that camera to death. It took my photography to a whole other level. Sold that, got an A7R4, still own it, still take it to weddings, still do professional stuff with it. Then I moved up, sold the A7C, and got the A7 IV, which I'm filming on right now with a 35-1.4. And then I rocked that for a couple years. So with photography and being a photographer, you want to take more photos outside of a business setting, like something other than getting paid for. So I looked into it, saw Fuji was hot. So the first Fuji camera I wanted to own was the X100V or 5. Looked online, looked at the prices, insane. There is no way I was gonna pay more resale for a used camera than it would be new. So I looked and saw the X106 was coming out. So when it dropped, I said, all right, I'm gonna save up a couple of dollars, and then I'm going to get the camera as a gift to myself for working so hard. Sold out. And then a couple months later, the X-T50. Same sensor, same processor, just not a fixed lens camera like the X104 is. So got that camera, loved it. It was kind of like a second place prize because I couldn't get the X106. So I took it around. It was great to have something small, something compact. And then with the film simulations, that's what really sold me on the camera. I love having the ability to kind of bake in a look without having to go home, edit, and then those pictures never see the light of day, because I would say 99% of the photos I take, I don't show anybody. I just keep them for me. They're just for me. So then it was about December 2024, about what, 8 months after the release, got the call, hey, your X106, we have it in store. You want to get it? Without hesitation, whipped out my credit card, got it. So rock with this camera, still my favorite camera of all time. Favorite camera of all time. I can't stress how much I love having this camera. Great. So now my X-T50, you know, poor X-T50 sitting there collecting dust. I might give it to a friend to come along if they want to shoot with me. And then I say, you know, I really want the ability to change lenses. So the X-T50 came out with me a couple of times because I had the 23 f2 and the 35 f2 as well. But just the look of this camera, you don't want to take anything else out. Like, not only do you want to take this camera out all the time, you want to wear it as like jewelry. You know, sometimes I'll just put it around my neck, walk around. I won't even take a photo. You know, you get compliments, oh, it's that film, oh, I love that camera, oh, it's that X106, yeah. So just the look of this camera is, you know, amazing. And then you want to upgrade to something that has a fixed lens. So then I saw that the X-T50. I love watching videos of the X-T4. I love the body, and I love that it looks just like the X106, but interchangeable lenses. Now, I realized that I'm a photographer who, if I get a camera, if I have a camera, whatever lens that is on the camera will mainly stick to that camera through its whole life cycle. Like my A7 IV, the 35 1.4, it hasn't left the camera. Like I rarely change lenses, and I only have two lenses. I have the 85 1.4 and the 35. So I bought the XE5, and this is why it kind of sat, because I had the 23 f2. Now I wish I had a photo of it, and if you're a Fuji fan, you know what the lens looks like. And it came to a point where you have to make the choice of what camera to bring. And you're like, all right, I have the XE5, and you know, I love the black color. Like I would never want this camera in that silver and black. I love the straight black look. I think it looks way better than the two-tone X106, because I think it looks too much like an X106, almost like the Chrysler 300 looks too much like a Bentley. I enjoy this camera. I enjoy how it looks. I think it looks phenomenal. So why it sat for so long was that I had the 23 f2, and that's what this has on it. I have it in black, which sometimes, you know, you want to switch up the color, but you don't want to carry around a camera that is bigger than what you already have. So I looked at it, I go, all right, I'm about to go out to the city, because I live 20 minutes north of Atlanta, depending on traffic. World Cup is here too. So I looked into, you know, different lenses, and I was like, I spent my hard-earned money on this. And of course, we know the price of these cameras are not cheap at all. And it was just a paperweight. You know, I didn't take it out. You know, I love the look. You know, I might play around with it, like, you know, before I go to bed, because I'm like, oh, I feel bad. But I needed a lens on this camera to make it worth picking it up and taking it with me over the X106. And my review is going to be kind of a two-part review here. And I know that, you know, I've been yapping a lot. I understand. But the lens is almost as important to this review as the camera. Now, there's three lenses. I was going to say two. There's three lenses, and there's one that I really want. If somebody wants to send it to me, you know, I greatly appreciate it. But I started looking around. You know, the 23 f2 lens is longer than the 23 on here. So this is why I never brought this out with the 23 f2, because it's just more camera. So I looked and saw the 27mm f2.8. Now I know it's a little bit slower than this, and it's not as, you know, not as sharp. It's a little bit louder. This is a loud camera, but this is a loud camera. But when you're outside in the real world, you can't hear it. Like, I know a lot of people talk about how loud the lens is. When you're out, I don't hear it, and I don't hear this at all. But the 27 really made this camera one of my favorite cameras, right below. If there's a tier list, if this was an S, this would be a A++++++. You know, my Sony cameras are in a different category because they do everything that these cameras can do and more. But for my everyday, the 27 f2.8 really made me fall in love with this camera. And it's because it's a pancake. And I didn't know that I love pancake lenses as much as I do now, because of the size. And I know I have an aftermarket lens hood on here to match, and I wanted to match the X106. So that's why I got this lens hood. I wanted to match this camera, look side by side, looks for looks, but it's been amazing. So now I want to go into what you're missing if you're choosing between these two cameras, because like they're so similar, but they're so different. Like when you go out with either one of these cameras, it is a different feeling for each. And it's two main things for me that really set these cameras apart. And I'm not even going to say the film simulation dial on here, because I love it and hate it. I more hate than love the film simulation dial. That's one reason why I got rid of the XT50, because that film simulation dial, it's wasted space. Like, I don't care. It's wasted space. Yeah, it's better than the XT50 because you can set your film recipes, but you can do that in the menu. all they had to do was just add a couple more slots on the menu, and it would have been perfect. You could have used this as a video dial between photo and video, because like I said, the video specs on these cameras are really, really good. Now, the two things, in my opinion, that set these cameras apart is going to be the ND filter, because I shoot more video on here just because of the ND filter. And then it's going to be the viewfinders. Now, this does have the retro style viewfinder, but this with the live view where, you know, you're looking straight through glass, that shooting experience, even though it's hard and it's not a true rangefinder, it kind of takes the photography to another level. With the hybrid, yeah, they call it the hybrid viewfinder. The hybrid viewfinder. I need to articulate a little bit more. I am a little bit Southern. But with the hybrid viewfinder, it just, I don't know, you have to try this camera out. You have to see it for yourself to get the full experience. And that ND filter for shooting video. And it's only really good for shooting video because this goes into electronic shutter if the scene is too bright. And also you can shoot at f2.8 wide open at 4,000 of a second. And this one with the leaf shutter is only, I think 2,000 with it wide open. All right, so I did take the camera out to FanFest here in Atlanta. We are hosting some FIFA, and I just wanted to get like some B-roll of me using the camera. And I'm gonna probably put up some pictures that I took. So my only gripes about this camera is first the price, because I don't know why everything is getting so expensive, but the barrier to enter is super high, and I think everybody should be able to enjoy an APS-C experience that doesn't break the bank. Like, I don't understand why a brand new camera, and I know it has IBIS. I do understand that, you know, it has the 41 megapixel sensor. There's no ND, there's no weather sealing. There are so many other cameras that I would honestly recommend before I tell somebody to go out and spend however much this, I can't even remember how much this camera was, you know, because I bought it brand new. And it's been over 6 months, and I sold my XT50, so that's why I don't remember how much it was, because I did a trade and I probably put like an extra maybe 100 or 200 down. But the barrier to entry on these cameras are a little bit higher than, you know, I want to recommend, because when people ask me for recommendations, I do recommend this camera in a pancake lens, but when I tell people the price before the lens, you know, they kind of just. So then on top of that, the other con I have will be, and the second con is going to be this film simulation dial. Now, I understand that everybody wanted to switch film simulations, but I highly doubt, and I know this is on everybody who's reviewed this camera with the film simulation, I don't know too many reviewers that actually love it. I know some people weren't used to it or didn't know about it, but the dial is borderline useless. I'm glad it's tucked away so you're not accidentally hitting it. And I know some people say, like, I've accidentally bumped it putting it in and out of bags. With this thumb grip that I have, I've never had any problems with bumping my film simulation dial at all. So that's a good thing. And then also, I might be the first person on YouTube to actually have a two-toned black and gold thumb grip with the shutter button. Now I know they're two different kind of golds, and I'm working on getting those to match up because it makes me kind of sick as well. But for me, the camera's great. Nothing that I can buy is going to outdo my X106 ever. You know, this is like your favorite child. You know, this is the child that got the degree, never got in trouble, straight A, maybe a B every once in a while, got the degree. And this is the child that just happened to come after. You know, this child can do more. This child does more than this child could ever do. You know, this is a couple trick pony. This with interchangeable lenses can do way more. This is a kid that had so much potential, but you know, it just had to be at the right place at the right time. You know, and unfortunately it's not. So I really appreciate you watching the video. And if you have any questions, please feel free. I'm working on a studio across the hall actually. So this is kind of like my rush setup. I just wanted to get a video out because I know I haven't gotten a video out in a while. It's been 6 months since I dropped a video on this. So I do want to make more videos, and you know, I appreciate your time watching. And if you have anything that I can do better, anything you want to see,